Brent, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. I love that it says go right there.
Let's go.
If I needed any sort of motivation on a Monday morning, that's it. That's all I needed. I just needed those two letters and that exclamation point, and bam, it's Monday morning. Let's do this thing.
Awesome. Well, it's good to know that that's what it takes.
I'm easy.
What are we talking about today?
Doesn't take a whole lot. There's so much. I just figured, well, maybe, okay, so we give everybody a little agenda, because I know how much everybody needs one and loves having an agenda.
Does everybody like agendas? Or do we need agendas?
I think people just like consistency, and they just like their world to be in a nice, neat little box. They like to know what's coming in their life. The unexpected and the uncertainty causes them great anxiety and troubles. And so we're going to give you guys some structure. So we'll talk a little bit about what the heck it is Mike and Brent are doing here and what our thoughts are on how we're doing this. And then I think it'd be super cool if we talked about last week. Quick little last minute trip to Devlin for me, not so last minute for you. But that was good. And then that will probably that will probably be more than enough. And then kind of what's next and what we're doing, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Plus, there's a challenge that some people made to me at a bar on the first night around whether or not I could keep this thing limited to 30 minutes. So the challenge was accepted, and we will execute.
Holy smokes. It's 30 minutes. Are you kidding me? All right. Yeah. Well, we better get started then. Holy crap. So, what the heck are we doing here, Mike?
Well, you lead us off.
Well, okay. So, hey, listen, we're doing this. We're forming this thing live. So, for a little historical perspective, maybe, this is kind of how I always have started things. And, over the years, I started getting a little bit more formalized. I used, back when I first started, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say that thing.
Back in the day?
No, I'm not going to say it. Everything was fun. Everything about new tech was fun, and it was exciting. And we signed up for everything. Every time a new little, social media widget thingy came out, we signed up for it. We tested it. We tried it out. We looked at it. We dissected it as a learning tool, a potential learning tool, figuring out how it could be used. And it was just a really exciting time. And I feel like we're in that space again. And one of the things that was super fun about live streaming when it first came out was just jumping in and just doing it. I know today it's very different. It's come a long way. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody live streams to every single platform. Everybody has a community. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about. But we only have 30 minutes, so maybe that's tomorrow. But we're going to do this every day, and we're just going to grind on this thing, and we're going to figure it out. It's how every community, it's how every live stream, every video, every product, everything that I have done that has been successful in my career typically started off with just a crazy idea and not overthinking it, and just, as our friend Mr. Fanzo would say, we just press the damn button and just do it. So we're going to learn a lot. You and I are going to learn a lot as we go through this. We may even change platforms. We may move somewhere else. We may do something else. We may, but it's going to be a daily thing, and we're going to share it with all of you out there in L&D land and in corporate business land in general. And we're here to help you guys get along. And just as an aside also, hey, we want to help you have fun again and reduce the anxiety and not be so freaked out about everything that's going on. That's really something I want to talk about too. So, but
So let's talk about the everyday thing. So is this Monday through Friday? Is this 7 days a week? Like
six
we're
a.m. Monday through Friday. Yeah, let's
Monday
do that.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And we're gonna plan on it's 6 o'clock for Brent and I. And Brent is using one of those mugs that I never got my hands on.
Oh, stop it.
So the we're gonna do this at 6 o'clock in the morning, with the exception of tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna go 6:30, so that'll be 2 hours later on the East Coast, so 8:30 on the East Coast tomorrow. But typically we will be doing this at 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, 5 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and 6 o'clock in the morning here for us in Arizona. Again, with the exception of tomorrow. And we're going to learn as we go through it. And as Brent said, we're going to test some different technologies. We're going to see kind of what works. We're going to check out people in the chat. Iqbal, thank you for joining. You joined on Friday's live stream and appreciate your questions. So, Brent, we've got about 24 minutes left to go into this. You mentioned community. Why'd you say
Yes.
community?
Well, I mean, it kind of all starts, it all, well, I shouldn't say starts with that. Sooner or later, that's what happens, right? When you start, sharing and just trying to help people get better, the community, there starts to be sort of a gravitational pull, and community people will start to join. And I think that's my favorite thing about what it is that we do in general. And I think it's ignored. And I think more than anything, especially with the tech surge in AI and a lot of the uncertainty, I think the human side of what we do is neglected. And I think community is needed more than ever, and can also be used as a powerful business tool.
How do you define community?
Say just a collection of people, numbers don't matter, that have all gathered with a similar interest or goal, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess interest or goal are the only two words I can pull up at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning.
There you go. I think as we go through this, that's one of the things you'll see is this back and forth between Brent and I, as we make sure that when we say words, those words get defined, and then ultimately as we communicate through, there's a level of alignment here. Your community is extremely important to me, as I've gone through periods of life where I felt alone, felt like detached, not connected to something. And even in those times where I might have been detached in one area or another, there was another area that I could connect with, whether it was community, it's now a community of people who play golf, or a community of L&D or learning and development professionals like we saw last week on the technology side at DevLearn, or a community of sales professionals, or community of operations professionals. There are all of these communities that are out there. One community that I've been a part of for a long time, back since the Revenue Collective days, is Pavilion. And we've got communities in our neighborhood, the place you live. And then we've got these communities that are online that every once in a while get together. What do the kids say? IRL. So we get together in real life, and you get to shake hands, you get to hug, you get to smile, you get to see each other. Even with all of the AI talk that's out there in chat that's out there, there's something very, very real about seeing somebody in person. And also, I know this is the segue into the DevLearn discussion, but there's also an opportunity where you get to feel uncomfortable. And so, talking about DevLearn, Sean made the trip with me last week, and in the first day of the expo, it was, I'm not going to go into a booth and talk to somebody I don't know. And then by the end of a couple of days out there were some very good conversations where he's in some Islander gear and people are coming up and saying hello or talking with him. And then there's this high level of comfort. So my first piece on DevLearn is uh, do hard things. And even though that hard thing might seem not so hard to somebody else, it's okay that it's hard to you as you work through it. So, right, let's talk about DevLearn. What'd you learn?
Um, a lot. So AI is real. There's a boatload of new platforms and tools. Which is pretty common when a new technology, launches, in the greater sphere of business and online and whatnot. Um, a lot of content creation, AI tools. Yeah, and pretty much it's just AI all day long. And every tool that's been around for a long time had to show off its new AI feature and new tool. Um, and that was super cool. I did notice that. So I haven't been to DevLearn in a long time. Well, and it feels like a long time, but I guess it's only been about 3 years, maybe. But um, those few times that I went, prior to that, I was in the Domino booth, right? Didn't get much time to go around and look and see everything that was going on. So I kind of feel like I haven't really seen a lot of the trends, going by, because I haven't done the deep dive like I did last week. And so it's interesting to me that there are so many basically what you wouldn't think of as L&D platforms now showing up and being at DevLearn. So products like Descript and I don't know, a handful of other ones that I saw that were there. And I thought that was interesting, because I've always thought that it's those fringe technology companies, those tools that we use as professionals all the time, that they absolutely should be there. And for one reason or another, we've never been able to get them to show up to the industry's communities where we do things. And maybe they just, went to ATD or other things or something like that. But it's fun to see them at DevLearn. What
The
did you think? What did you get out of it? What's different?
so the big thing for me, and I picked up an expo pass. I picked up an expo pass for both Sean and I to go through, and our focus was really to say hello to a bunch of people that I've known for years, introduce Sean to a couple of the celebrities in the field, and we had a little bit of fun with that. But the it was get to see a number of people that I've known for years, get Sean introduced to those folks as he's kind of figuring out his what does he like doing, what does he not like doing, what does he want to do more of.
Yeah.
The Islanders were playing in Vegas during the conference, so that made it an even more interesting trip. But the one of the things that surprised me is there are a number of folks that I would have expected to see, because I usually would see them at the event, that I didn't see at the event. And as I reflected on it, I was thinking, well, why was that the case? We were never really in the same space at the same time, even though we were at the same facility. Vegas is big, but
Yeah.
and the conference center at the MGM is pretty big. But we were never in the same area, where historically at the event we would be in the same area, because I'd be speaking at the event and I would see them walking through the halls, and I would between sessions as you go from session to session.
Yeah.
And this time I just camped out in the expo area, with the exception of a couple of times where I took a call in the walkway between the hotel and the conference center, and that's where I saw a number of people there, where you just say hi or smile while you're on a call, and being that guy in that area. But it was super interesting how different the experience was, being, for want of a better term, chained or focused on the expo hall, versus being at the event and moving in and out of different sessions. And the different folks that you see in that environment. And I would not have known it, wouldn't even have thought about it until
Yeah.
I did it this way. And I mean, I didn't see Brett's until the last night, or not last night, until when Demo Fest was going on. I saw him.
Right.
Um, that was the first time I got a chance to see him. So yeah, that was an interesting surprise. So what that told me is get out of your specific operating environment when you're at things like this. Like,
Yeah.
I will not go to another event like that where I don't spend more time down in and around the expo hall or in some of the other areas of the event that I might have ignored or might not have participated in just because it wasn't my area of focus. Now, there's a balance there. So you've got to keep focused in order to be able to achieve objectives. And we hit on every one of our objectives,
Yeah.
which was really cool. So we went in with a plan. We shared that plan last week. Brent and I
I was just going to say, yeah, just before we left, we did it. We did a live stream before we left and we talked about it.
and went out there and executed the plan. And a couple of the things I realized, hey, you know what? There's some things I missed as a result of that plan, just probably because of the short period to do it. So that was a big thing. It was cool to see Sean experience. It was good to see everything else. When you think about the AI stuff, how would you cluster the groupings of AI related things from a vendor perspective? Like like everybody was AI enabled, not everybody, but
Yeah.
most people said, hey, we're AI enabled in one way, shape, or form. But like, how would you cluster the AI stuff from a tools or tech perspective?
Well, first, before I jump into that, I will say there is a difference. You sparked something in my mind that this was the first time that I've ever gone to any event just as an expo only attendee and
Okay.
just
Yep.
focused on going into the expo and meeting as many vendors as I can and learning about that stuff is a very different experience than being a part of, like you said, outside the expo, where the last thing you want to do is go into the expo because you don't want to be accosted by the sales team of every single booth as you're headed to lunch or as you're, just trying to get a drink or just trying to get a cookie,
Hey,
whatever's drawing you in.
let's build on that. Were you ever accosted? So we were only in the expo hall. Did you ever feel accosted?
No, but it's interesting when you were talking about Sean. I know it's a strong word. I probably should have chosen more wisely.
No, it's a great word.
But all we had to do was tell Sean, listen, this is the most friendly, the easiest way. This is not like a bar. It's not like you're meeting somebody new and it's like you're going up, hey, honey, can I buy you a drink? It's not like that. All you have to do is, like, when you're walking down, like, make one bodily gesture as if you're slightly going towards the booth and make eye contact, and they will do the rest most of the time. They're there to connect with you, to say hi, to draw you in. All you have to show is tiny little bit of interest, and the conversation just goes. They will ask all of the questions, and more often than not, make you feel very comfortable as long as you're okay sharing and answering their questions. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that was funny. But clustering the AI stuff before we hit our limit and you lose your bet.
I'm not losing my bet.
He's like, I don't care if Brent's talking in the middle of a great story. I'm shutting this thing down.
There actually was not a bet. It was just I don't think you can do it. So
I would say, not having pre-thought this out at all, I would say there's the existing companies that have built-in feature sets, basically meaning more often than not, it's just whatever they use to build. They've plugged in an AI component that says, ask AI to help you build it better. So if you're writing content or whatever, there's a little feature that says, AI can help you write it better. Or you need to build some content on a new topic, click this button and magically put it in, and it automatically goes in your LMS and you're good to go. And then there's the pure play, the new development stuff. There was a bunch of video generation type platforms that build the content that I think that separate themselves, disconnect themselves from L&D, despite being in the L&D world, are kind of like, we don't want this to be going in the LMS. We don't, we want you to build content over here, and it should enable your workforce. It should be easy to access. It should be it shouldn't just be in that classic old school format. And we're going to be talking a lot about that later on, but we're not going to go into that here. I've been writing and thinking a lot about this since DevLearn, well, actually for the last 20 years, but dusted off some old ideas and that are still relevant today. But anyways, yeah, so I think there's that bucket of brand new startups that were there. I don't know, half a dozen at least, I would say, that were kind of like content generation that sit on their own, pure AI plays. The foundation was AI. And then there's that side, the legacy platforms that just have an AI feature. Yeah, those were the two big clusters. I would break them up into, I think, for simplicity's sake. What did you see? Did you categorize them more deeply?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was the good. How do you create stuff? It was the how do you make sure you get the stuff that's created into the hands of the people who need the stuff. So there was the creator, there was the connector, and then were all of these kind of like edge case type things where it kind of felt like it was a little bit more forced in there than it was than real. And it like, and what was also interesting, and I know we had this conversation with a couple of different people, it was interesting that there was also this feel of, God, why is everything AI? Like, just like everything is just AI, and it's so there was just kind of this interesting thing that was going on there.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the number of vendors that were there. So it was full. It felt like it felt full, and it felt active. It was also cool to see the number of people that were in and around the expo, because it didn't feel at any point in time, and I may have been off on this, but it didn't feel at any point in time that it was all vendors communicating with other vendors. Like, it wasn't that kind of environment. It was like,
Yeah.
there were practitioners down there in there who were looking at it saying, hey, I've got some problems I need to work through and solve, and I'm down here to go solve it. So
Are there that many problems though that it requires a new tool in order to solve those problems? I think that's the piece. That's the piece that I didn't do as much of it that I wanted to, was to talk more to practitioners and ask those types of questions. But I think the reason why I didn't necessarily focus on it too much was because I knew we would be doing this, and there would be other opportunities to get people who were there to do that on here to talk with us, or maybe they're in the chat, or however we end up communicating with the greater community during these times together.
I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up today's thing, which is like a call to folks as you pick this up, whether you picked it up live or you pick it up as a recording. What would you like to see? What are some of the burning questions that are hitting, that are sitting in front of you as you either think about what's next from a role perspective, what's next from a people that you support perspective, what's currently, what's old that might be new again. As I think Brent was talking to somebody, and they said that the biggest thing that they were struggling with was the whole idea of helping people realize that learning happens on the phone, or training happens on the phone. This is
like, it's got to be on this thing, and I'm like, oh, holy crap. We talked about that in 2007 when the iPhone came out, but way to go.
but it's their first experience with it, so they're so excited. And one of the challenges that you run into as a founder, as someone who starts a business, someone who's an entrepreneur, is you can create these amazing blind spots for yourself that make you think, I am the first person that has ever thought about being able to do this thing, and you shut all the other stuff off. And yeah, we'll probably get into some of that from an entrepreneur perspective
Yeah.
as
And
we
hey,
go through
folks,
it. This
that's
blind spot.
okay. I don't ever want anybody like it. It's, when you've been around too long, you sometimes get the old man shouting at clouds, thing. And it's totally cool. I also just want to point out to folks that I never feel like I have all the answers. If we say something or if we're talking about something that you feel is totally wrong, we encourage you to reach out because that's how we all learn. That's what community is about. And that's so enough said on that. That's why we do this. And I'm looking forward to continue doing it.
This is going to be awesome. So um, every morning, 6 o'clock for Brent and I out here in Arizona, at least. 6 o'clock for Brent and I out here in Arizona, except for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do it at 6:30, just because of a conflict I had already had in place. That is going to be 8 o'clock in the morning for those on the East Coast. It will be, what's that going to be, 1 o'clock in the afternoon for those in Europe, depending on where you are in Europe. And
Yep.
if you happen to be on the Pacific coast, then that'll be 5 o'clock in the morning. So you get to get up super early with us. We will be monitoring the chat. I'll get better at that as we go through. We'll share at the beginning of the day, like the what's on our mind theme, keep things going. And my commitment is that we are going to keep this to 30 minutes. Brent, we've got 3 more minutes left. Where can folks find out more about what you're working on and what you're writing about?
Yeah, so just follow me on LinkedIn. It's pretty much the only platform I'm going to be doing communicating on these days. It just seems to be the place to be. So connect with us there. That's where you'll see these videos. Things will change as we get through, and as we do this, we get our groove going. But yeah, just hook up with me on LinkedIn.
And there is a post that Brent shared about exiting security and coming back into L&D. Take a look at that. Read that piece. There's some interesting stuff in there as you go through it. You can follow me here on LinkedIn. You can find your catalyst. You find mycatalyst.com. We will do this every day. We will get better as we go through, and we are going to test some new technologies and try to figure out, hey, what's the best way to create the kind of experience that we want to create for folks as you build. You do it one day at a time. You do it one activity at a time. You do it one person at a time. Brent, thanks for doing this.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm totally psyched about getting back in the